Hey, it's Brian Harana. Welcome to Momentum. Wanted to talk about metabolism and how it affects you and how to get it lit inside. So we're gonna go through a variety of different things. What this talk is gonna cover: what metabolism is, kind of go over some of the hormones that dictate what goes on with metabolism, what your metabolism is affected by, how to determine it, what's BMR, what's TDEE, some fallacy and facts about metabolism, and then lastly, we're going to go over some foods and tactics that will actually support your metabolism and improve it for you. So we got a wide variety of things to talk about today. Looking forward to it. So let's get going. What the heck is metabolism and how are we going to improve it? So most people talk about the metabolism that it's slow, that it doesn't respond, that the fire inside actually is not working. And I hear this a lot, and they also talk about it decreasing with age, which is true. But there's a lot of things that can dictate that, and we'll go over that. So when we gain weight, we blame it on metabolism, and when we diet, we fear that metabolism will slow down, and then we're just kind of waiting around until we can do the next thing to kind of boost the metabolism, whether that's taking up pills, potions, some magic supplement or whatnot. Usually kind of falls into that fat burners and whatnot, B vitamins, things of that nature. We also look for a variety of different exercise options that can affect it and speed up the metabolism, or different food options like teas, ginseng, energy type supplements as well. So what metabolism is that it's a process. Okay, it's a process in the body that regulates your energy. And so it's a combination of physical and chemical processes that keep you alive, that determine how your energy is produced, and so and what everything for your body does. So metabolism helps dictate your muscle growth. It helps dictate your muscles, bones, ligaments, the growth of those, and the support of those as well. Now, with hormones, what we're looking for that regulate metabolism, we've got the thyroid. Okay, a lot of people talk about thyroid, and it is definitely one of the things that will affect your metabolism. Now we've got the hypothalamus, that will actually send messages from the brain to the pituitary gland, and what it does there is that it'll release the T4 and T3 hormones that directly relate to metabolism, and these help with blood balance. They help keep metabolism functioning properly, and so we want to make sure that we're regulating those. We're not going to dive into T3, T4 a lot today, but we are going to talk about other ways that what other symptoms and signs kind of affect our metabolism. So we've got 5 different areas, 6, 7. So we have 7 different areas that are going to affect your metabolism. And first up is sex. Second up is your age. Third, sex and age you really can't do much about. It's kind of set in stone. But the other ones, the other 5, are a big deal, and they create some change for you. So we have diet, what you eat, obviously. We have body composition, your percentage of lean body mass, that's muscles, bones, and organs. We got overall lifestyle, how you live on a regular basis. Do you sit a lot? Do you stand? Do you move? Do you exercise on a regular basis? Do you get out and enjoy the outdoors? All those things obviously affect your metabolism. We've got physical activity. We kind of just briefly mentioned that, and then sleep. So those last 5 are things that are dictated by your lifestyle. All right. Now we've got BMR. What is BMR? Basal metabolic rate. Okay, so the amount of calories that you need if your body is at rest. It's to help sustain temperature, transport nutrients around the body, um, pumps blood, keeps you breathing, all the involuntary muscles, group muscle actions that happen like breath, heartbeat, those are involuntary movements. So basal metabolic rate are you at rest, okay? Now, how do we determine this? Well, first, online calculators do a fantastic job of doing it, and they'll give you they'll give you a pretty close estimate of what a basal metabolic rate is. This has been tested and studied. There's a formula for it based on your height, your weight, and your body fat, if you know what that is. Now, in general, what we want to think, and I want to kind of stress this to particularly the women, men naturally have a higher metabolism than women do, and so what we want to do is really kind of focus on knowing what this is, so then it affects how much calories you eat and what your perception is of those calories. So a general metabolism is going to range anywhere by like 13 to 1400 calories for women. Okay, so it's 13 to 1400 calories. Now these functions of the body, I'll break them down here for you and how much calories that they actually use. So the brain is 250 calories, the liver is 300 calories, you have your gut, the stomach, and all of that digestive tract. It ranges from about 250 calories per day. We've got the heart is about 260 calories. We got kidney, which is 180 calories. And then last up we have muscle. Muscle is about 1 gram of muscle uses about 12 calories. And so for an individual can use up to 250 calories a day. All right. Now, I measured mine in the online calculator. So I put in my age, which is 33. I put in my height, which is 6 foot, and I weigh approximately 193 pounds, give or take. I haven't weighed myself in a while, so I'm just estimating that. So we're going off 193. So what that boiled out to me, the math works out to 1,858 calories, so 1,858 calories, okay? So that's how many calories I need to eat every single day to keep this body up and running, doing nothing. Now, I'm relatively active, so I need a lot more calories than that. And we kind of dive into what activity is. So, TDEE, okay, I kind of brought that up earlier. TDEE is total daily energy expenditure, and what we want to do here is that we want to account for your exercise activity. Usually an activity factor when you do the math to a basal metabolic rate is anywhere between 1.2 and 1.5 times, okay? And so those will give you a little bit better numbers of where you are need to be. So now when again, there's calculators to do this, so we don't really have to go over the formulas because you can just Google it and it'll come up, and it's easy to just plug in some numbers. So when I search for our total daily energy expenditure, come up with the Catch-McArdle method formula, and so that one actually talks about requires body fat and knowing what that is. Excuse me. And so what will happen is that we'll put the numbers in the formula. I put myself down. I put all my digits in, and I put myself down for roughly like 9-10%. I might be a little bit leaner, but that's a safe bet for me. Now, when I pumped out the calories for that and hit the calculate button, it pumped out 3,600 calories. Okay, so for maintenance level, 3,600 calories I would need to eat on a regular basis that would allow me to maintain my body weight. So, which is approximately based off my self-experiments with myself and monitoring and tracking food on a regular basis. It ends up, I was guesstimated about 3,500. So a guesstimate of where I feel like I could eat and get away with food is about 3,500 calories every day for a normal, typical average day for me. And the calculator came out at 36, so pretty darn close. Now, all of this stuff is based off formulas and not off all actuality. There have tests like a metabolic cart that can give you a much closer number to what your metabolism would be. That is something that you can go get tested if you'd like, and then it gives you a better idea of where your metabolism is, and then you can eat more according to that. Okay, but in general, you are the same as the next person, as the same as the next person, knowing that we have lean body mass, that fat-free body mass, lean body mass that accounts for muscles, bones, organs, tendons, ligaments, things like that. And that is pretty standard and consistent across the board, specifically with heights to people, okay, despite weight as well. So like for me, generally I'm going to have about 170 pounds of lean body mass on me, and so just the obviously the more weight I gain, the higher my body fat percentage is, and the less than the lower body fat that I have. So now what we're going to talk about next is how are calories being used and how can you speed up your metabolism. Well, knowing where the calories are at and what the kind of the percentage breakdown is for them will allow you to understand your metabolism a little bit more. So knowing that 60 to 70% of the food that you eat every single day is going to go to keeping you alive. Okay, so it's your heart rate, it's breathing, it's body temperature, it's those things that are going to be most important to keeping you alive and well and moving forward. So if you're not eating what a basal metabolic rate would be for you, then we're getting into some trouble. Okay, now the next kind of chunk is going to be made up for physical activity. So anywhere from like 15 to 30% of the calories that you eat are going to be for everyday activity, whether it's exercise, whether it's running, or just digging in the garden and walking around. Okay. And lastly, we've got the last bit of calories you use for, guess what? Digestion. Actually consuming the food and breaking it up. So we've got about 10-15% of that gets used there. So recapping that, know that the majority of the food that you eat is just going to go to keeping you alive and keeping you doing what you need to do for life, for living every day. So heartbeats, breathing, and doing the overall daily functions that you do. And next up, we're going to dive into some fallacy and facts about metabolism. You know, you hear it from your friends, the internet, and they can be correct, but sometimes they're not as well. So one of the fallacies is that the amount of body fat that you carry affects your metabolism. Now the fact of that is that the amount of muscle that you carry and your body composition is going to determine your metabolic rate. Okay, so fat-free mass, which is muscles, bones, and organs, is a strong predictor of metabolism, and it ends up being predominantly muscle. Like think of what the body looks like. There's going to be a lot more muscle than there's bones, and even organs. Okay, and muscle is pretty demanding as well. Then, the last up is also like water content as well of the body. The body's like 70% water. So, and fallacy number 2, most people that are overweight have slow metabolisms. And fact is that is often the opposite case. People who are overweight have faster metabolisms. Okay, why? They think that it's the people are gaining weight because their metabolism is slowed down, and that's not correct. Okay, and what it ends up being is that like I said earlier, most people are very similar to one another. So there isn't a lot of variance between fat-free mass from one person to another. So myself, another 6-foot male, will have a relatively close fat-free mass as compared to me. I'm at 193 pounds, and somebody could be 225 and have approximately the same amount. We're going to look different, obviously, because of body composition and body fat levels. So metabolism isn't necessarily the issue here. It's more about your eating habits, okay? And note this, that for every 20 pounds that a person has extra body fat on, up to a quarter of that can be fat-free mass. So that is going to help support the body fat. Also, think of like veins and blood vessels that will supply that area of fat that gets added to the body as well. Another fallacy is going to be that most people who struggle with their weight are likely suffering from a thyroid disorder. Now you hear a lot of people will blame on that, like, hey, like, I've got a slow metabolism, blah, blah, blah. Now, thyroid, the true fact is that their thyroid disorders are fairly rare among the general population, okay? Only 4% of Americans end up with some sort of thyroid issue or disease, okay? Excuse me, long day. Fallacy, the next fallacy is when you hit a sticking point in your weight loss goal, it's due to a stalled metabolism. The actual fact of the matter is that plateaus are a sign that your metabolism is doing its job, okay? It's going to be far, say if you have to lose like 15 to 20% of your body fat, you're going to be far easier to lose the first 7 to 10% body fat than the second 10. Your body is pretty good at knowing how to kind of keep itself preserved, okay? And it'll slow metabolism down. But first is that what happens as you lose weight is that you actually, your metabolism is matching the new you, so it's slowing down. It doesn't cost as much energy to run a smaller body, okay? Secondly, the body thinks it's starving, and as a result, the thyroid hormones drop, and your resting metabolic rate drops as much as 10%, okay? So you aren't burning as many calories in a day as you were. So if you weigh 25 pounds overweight, you're burning more calories because it costs more energy to move those 25 pounds around. Imagine if you carried a 25-pound dumbbell around. That ends up being a lot of work over time, okay? So it stresses the body. Now, when you lose weight, yes, you get lighter. And so that means that the amount of calories that are getting burned drops off as well, even if you are active, all right? Now, another point here is that as we age, we actually do, our metabolism will actually slow down, okay? We'll lose about 20 to 25% of our metabolism over the course of our life. So from anywhere from age 20-ish, 22, all the way up to 75, it'll slow down in that time frame as much as 20 to 25%. We'll talk about ways to kind of maintain metabolism as much and as long as possible. So a typical example of this drawn out would be if you're eating 1,500 calories at the age of 20, then at the age of 75, your resting metabolic rate, your basal metabolic rate will be 1,200 calories, okay? This is part of the metabolic rate. Excuse me again. Now, lastly here, kind of ways to boost your metabolism through food, through other tactics, okay? So we're going to go over that. Now, first up, let's cover a couple food-related items is eating whole foods, okay? And limiting the amount of processed foods that you eat, obviously, okay? It costs more to digest whole foods than it does processed. Secondly, we want to drink upwards of 100 ounces of water a day. The process of the water that helps your body kind of be fluid and supple is going to be an important part of the process in staying hydrated. Usually my hands will tell me if I'm hydrated or not, or I'll feel it in my skin sometimes as well. Obviously, urine has a little bit to do with that as well. So we want clear urine, and we want to pee relatively 2 to 3 hours throughout the day. Then we know that we're actually hydrated enough. Another way to help boost your metabolism is eat leafy greens and vegetables and fruits that are full of micronutrients of vitamins and minerals, okay? And then also getting that fiber in, okay? Next, the other thing is to pick on some good healthy fats, nuts, seeds, coconut oil, olive oil, avocados, and we want to kind of avoid saturated fats like butter, lard, vegetable oil, bacon, unfortunately. So we will not necessarily want to have bacon all the time, but in a flexible dieting approach, you could technically have some bacon. As far as the protein goes, we want to have lean sources of protein, of course, preferably from plants, but we definitely want to have some meat in there as well. And so whatever, as we monitor the macros, we're looking to have all the protein that you eat gets counted into the protein note. So knowing that if I have chicken and I have beef and I have oatmeal and I have quinoa and I have some broccoli, like all those things have protein in them, and they will actually add to your total count. So when you're tracking your food, you want to take into account that it's not necessarily all just like meat protein that you need. You'll have some of that in the plant-based source as well. Ways to help tactics are watch your hunger signals and make sure that it's truly hunger and not thirst. Oftentimes people will be feeling like they're hungry, but it's actually because they're a little dehydrated and their body is saying, I'm thirsty, actually, okay? Portion sizes, we always want to be mindful of those. And if you follow a macro-based nutrition plan, then that will allow you to dictate about approximately how many calories you need per meal and per day. So if someone's eating 1,500 calories, that's 5 300-calorie meals, or slightly more with 4 meals, so like 375 calories for 4 meals a day at that calorie level. Okay, we're looking for eating iodine-rich foods such as seaweed and different seafoods. We want to have selenium regularly. These are found in sunflower seeds, mushrooms, tuna, crab, lobster, some seafood. Okay. As far as other things that we want to avoid would be soy products. Soy can modify your thyroid because soy has estrogen-like properties. Okay, so you don't want to eat too much of those. We want to consume cruciferous vegetables that are like broccoli and cabbage, and we're going to cook them instead of eating them raw. That's going to allow the body to produce more energy from. Now, another one, this is an easy tactic if you just stand outside and get some sun, okay? So getting vitamin D is an important part of the process. You can supplement if you are finding yourself indoors all the time. Now, as far as tactics go, we want to keep the body moving all day long, okay? Or as much as possible. Regularly taking breaks and moving along the way throughout the day. So exercise and daily activity is super duper important to boosting your metabolism, and then also it kind of feeds into happiness and fulfillment, okay? So those are things that we want to be paying mindful attention to. Don't skip on sleep. That's something I've done for way too long. And if you went on just solely that, I should be a lot heavier than I am, because sometimes I just don't sleep that much, and that's not a good thing. Okay, lifting weights is a fantastic way to build some muscle and those biceps. Lifting also helps with bone support as well and building good, strong, dense bones. As it grows colder now here, going into October here shortly, The cold is actually an easy way to stimulate your metabolism. Your body takes more energy to keep it warm, so it's an easy way to burn some calories and boost your metabolism is to go out in the cold. When we're done with our workouts, we're interested in HIIT style workouts. HIIT style workout is going to be a high intensity interval training, and this is going to allow you to move and get more done in less time. This is a profound methodology that a lot of strength conditioning coaches follow, and I've been seeing this pattern of doing some strength training and then following with a high intensity interval training session. Works really, really well. We have two more. We're kind of going back to the food here. We've got one easy way to kind of boost metabolism sometimes is to create some spice in it, and some cayenne peppers are fabulous for this. And last up, we don't want to starve ourselves. We don't want to slow our metabolism down. What happens when someone decides to lose weight, they start to eat less, and they do it for too long, and ultimately they end up messing around with their body's ability to burn calories. And we go in a yo-yo diet pattern is where we have a lot of calories and we cut it down a lot, and we might get some results there, but the body starts to lose weight, the metabolism naturally slows down there, and then when we get to the bottom there, then if we went too aggressive a caloric deficit, then we end up risking muscle loss, and that's not a good thing either, because muscle is metabolism. The more of that we have, the more we can eat just doing nothing. So I hope you enjoyed. There's a number of different things about metabolism. There are online calculators, to recap, that will monitor your basal metabolic rate and your total daily energy expenditure, give you a rough estimate of how many calories you need, and it's always good to check that against what I'm prescribing, because everything is just a ballpark number, and everything needs to be experimented with. That's ultimately what we're looking for. We want to boost our metabolism, and a lot of ladies actually have a ton of success with if they end up reverse dieting and actually add food into their diet, because they come up with a supportive way to boost their metabolism over time. And then we create a natural way of a deficit. If I get you to eat an extra 300-400 calories a day, and your body doesn't change in terms of gaining any weight, then we can cut and do some different cycling, carbs or calorie cycling, to cut down on the actual number, so your body gets used to eating, say, 2,000 calories, and you cut it down to 1,700 some days, you'll start burning body fat right there. So there's a wide variety of different information on metabolism. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know.